Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Competitive Speed Series. It is round 8 of Season 4, and fortunately, returning after a week in absence, after being unwell, the one, the only, it is the lovely Dom, who returns after illness. Firstly, how are we?
Yeah, I'm feeling much better than last week. Had a sore throat and commentating was just really hurt, so didn't really want to risk making it worse last week. But happy to be excited. Happy to be back once again. Going into Qatar for PSF1 here. Now we're just waiting for to get into the lobby. How are you, Byron?
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. Good to be back. Good to have you back as well. It is round 8 of Season 4. As I've already mentioned, we've only got 4 rounds to go beyond here. Las Vegas, a mystery GP, Hungary, and Japan. And you might tell in my voice there's a slight bit more of a rushed tone this evening. We're a couple minutes late, and the lobby, for once, are a couple minutes early. So we're having to rush through proceedings to try and make sure we get all of the on-track action as soon as we can. But in terms of the standings, ET8 have once again continued to extend their lead. TTM now sit over 100 points back. That is not great for anyone who wants to challenge TTM, who currently sit at the top of the standings. CPI in 3rd, TF10 in 4th, Team Exeter in 5th, Grand Track 10 in 6th, IRT 7th, Iberia Racing Team in 9th, Optimum Velocity Racing in 9th, and Avisio Racing in 10th. And, well, not so good news for Team Exeter, who have a double quali ban going into this round, unfortunately. So not ideal for them, but maybe ideal for those behind who might want to look to gain some points, especially Grand Track 10, who have been looking good in recent races. But qualifying pretty much beginning as we speak. We're not going to take you over just yet, but got a good qualifying session ahead of us. 20 drivers in the lobby. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, very good. Some drivers already going out, but very excited for this one. Qatar is always a track that has always been very challenging for drivers, especially with the high tyre wear that happens at this track, and also the very randomness in strategies that we're seen in multiple other events previous. So yeah, now we're just seeing TF10 Dirk, Renz Thomason, Nico, and TF10 Max van der Geest going out onto their outlaps here. Very easy to invalidate through here, especially with the nature of this track and how much high-speed corners there are. Very easy to go off and get a few warnings, so I will be anticipating a few penalties to come during the race. Hopefully it doesn't change things too much within the order, but so far, what do you think? Who will dominate this race, or who will win?
Well, I mean, you've got to put your eggs in the basket of a certain team that begins with ET8, because they have been on fine form as of recently, and, well, you cannot fault them at all for the level of performance that they have had recently through this season. But really good to see so many drivers and so much talent on this grid, as always. But more so this weekend than others. So many great names up and down the grid. Great to see Dirk racing for TF10, but so many great drivers, and Dirk now begins his first flying hot lap of this qualifying session, first of many.
Yeah, he's the first one to cross the line, so I guess we'll be looking at him throughout the line. Goes into turn 1, brakes just after the 50-meter board through there, and then lifts through this corner slightly, shifts down to 5 and keeps going through here. Use a little bit of the ERS. Now possibly puts it onto medium through this next section. Very easy to invalidate through here as the corners are so close together. Now this is the harshest braking zone of the track, of course, Purple Sector 1, as he is the first person to cross that Sector 1 split. Now going to a very difficult corner, one corner that I've found very difficult for me personally. But for Dirk, it looks like it's any other day for him. Now going through fast left and right handers, now going onto the mini straight here, which does not have DRS, but you will be going into gear 7 through here. And through here, Purple Sector 2, basically flat out through the next series of right handers. Very easy to invalidate here, as Dirk does right there. Unfortunately, jinxed it, but was looking like a very good lap as well. Lucas as well on a lap. So is the rest of the grid as well. So very exciting for this qualifying session so far as Dirk invalidates and now goes back into the pits.
Absolutely. First lap times are coming onto the board though. His teammate Max von der Gies does set the fastest and first lap time so far, immediately beaten by Rens Thomason for ETA, a team that are leading the championship, and rightfully so. A team with so much talent in their folds at the moment, and immediately right at the top of the timesheet, coming up to the line. I'm trying to figure out who's close to the line. It's so difficult to tell. I'm really struggling already in this qualifying session. We're barely even a couple of moments in. OVR Lucas is about to set a lap time onto the board. He hasn't got a lap time at the moment. Half the field doesn't. He can only manage ninth, a 1:21.016. Going to need a lot of improvement there if he wants any chance of getting a result in this qualifying session. As Nick for TTM, they want to challenge ETA. Can they challenge ET8 though? They're going to need a good result here today to try and get that championship charge back on track for them. Nick goes third for TTM. Not a bad lap time at all. A good start for them, but Rens Thomason leading the way as per usual.
Yeah, I'm also seeing Aversio look to be having a very strong qualifying session, submitting two of their academy drivers with Mick Slinky 8 and Kevin's both driving for the Aversio team. They need a really good result here if they want to get back into the championship. Now we're in the second half of the season. Time is running out for Project Aversio to get back into this race. TF10 also looking very strong, and TTM, as always, strong as well. ET8 with a 1 and 5. The rest of the drivers look to be on their win laps, all going out into the pits now. So very interested to see how this goes along.
Absolutely, so much time for things to change through this qualifying session as we've already got a driver back out for his second run in this qualifying session. That is the man on your screen right now, TF10 Dirk, who did not have the best opening lap to his qualifying session. We'll be hoping for a better one second time around, but 12.5 minutes left on the clock. TF10 Dirk looking for answers. His teammate, though, looking for provisional pole position, but TF10 Dirk rounding the final couple of bends, a bit more heat into those tyres, as now he will begin his second lap of anger around the Qatar International Circuit. And what a circuit it is there as we head down the main straight with TF10 Dirk and now head on board with the man hoping to get where his teammate is, braking just up after the 50-meter board. Take it nicely through turn number 1, and then this second braking zone, barely even a braking zone, all lifted off. Try and carry as much speed through here as you can, cut the corner as much as you can there through turn number 3, and now swing it through, and well, it is a very good start to the lap time at the moment for TF10 Dirk, who now slings his way through that second sector of the lap. And what a lap it absolutely is. It is really difficult to string the perfect lap together here around such a tight and twisty circuit. Really difficult, so fast and flowing, but beautifully held there as we now round towards the end of the second sector here with TF10 Dirk, and now into sector number 3, and what a lap time it certainly has been for him at the moment. It's a purple sector 2 for TF10 Dirk, as now we round the final couple of corners with the man who's not got a lap time at the moment. It's a good lap time at the moment for TF10 Dirk. Can he keep it though, as he will now round those final couple of bends for his first valid lap time here in qualifying as he runs up to the line? Where will it be for the man? It is provisional pole position for TF10, and what an important provisional pole position it is, just by under a tenth of a second. A good lap time from the man who now resides in P1.
Yeah, very good and strong performance from the series of bankers from the TF10 team. ETA also doing well, and so are TTM. Aversio also trying to fight for redemption this race, as I've mentioned previously. Loads of other drivers now beginning the laps, that including Rens Thomason, who has now just gone through the second turn and is looking very quick as well through this first sector. Now going into this very slight braking zone, slight lift and shift down to sixth, use as much of the curb as possible, and be mindful not to invalidate that. It's a very, very slight improvement for the Dutchman. Now going into the second sector now, and going into this difficult series of corners. He's going to try and have to carry as much minimum speed as possible, of course, flat out through this right-hander, and then a very slight braking zone, shift down twice into this left-hander, use as much of that outside curve as possible. Now going into this small straight, setting up the corners and perfectly into gear 7. It's purple sector 2. He is nearly a tenth up on his previous lap. It's almost flat out through all of these corners here. Very easy to invalidate as well. Now slight lift through this last one for Jens Thomassen. It's not really a lift though. And now he's going into the final corner. Brake after the 50-meter board. Use as much of the apex curb as possible, and also with the exit curb. Now it's just the run to the line. DRS open. Where's it going to be? It's going to be a 20.3, and it's going to put him onto provisional pole for now. Max van der Geest also just behind him, who's just started a lap. He will be fighting down to get the pole position away from Jens Thomassen.
Indeed, really good opening start for TF10, by the way. Max van der Geest there making the jump up to third. Really good start for him. Rick Gambe got himself up into seventh there. Ghost King rounding the final couple of corners at the moment with about a 3/10 improvement there, but comes into the pit lane. So he did invalidate on that lap, unfortunately for him. Quite a few invalidations on the board at the moment, but Gavroche, who's currently all the way down in 20th, has not got a lap time at the moment, hasn't invalidated out the final bend. This is his first lap time. Where can he go? It's fourth for Gavroche for GT10, and that's a team that, as we said last time out, really have been looking a little bit better in terms of pace and performance, and once again, continuing to show it, and good to see, because they are really having a bit of a good time here at the moment, and it is lovely to see.
Yeah, now Max van der Geest is slowed down. He's backed out of his current lap. ET8 Jamie, I believe, has just started his lap as well. Now he's going into turn 1, but that is your grid so far. You've got the ET8 man of Jens Thomassen, who is currently on provisional pole, followed by Dirk, who is only 500ths behind him, who's currently on his outlap, followed by Dirk's teammate Max van der Geest in third position, GT10 Gavroche in fourth, Nick in fifth, Mixlinky in sixth. Claudio retires from the session. I'm not sure if that was a quali ban or something like that, but
yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Then Chris RBL for the ET8 team in 7th place, Rick Gambe for CPI in 8th, Kevin's in 9th, Ghost King in 10th, Boyalulu in 11th, Jamie and Nico in 12th and 13th, Phil in 14th, Lucas in 15th, Marley in 16th, and Claudio, Duncan and Karumi will be serving qualifying bans, and Pablo Crack is at the very bottom.
Indeed. Wow, 6 minutes 40 left on the clock, and for TF10 Dirk, it's yet another lap here of the Qatar circuit on its way, and wow, he's looking to respond from the man currently at the top, which is Jens Thomassen for ETA, and TF10 have got a real good chance at the moment of getting a good haul of points. Chris is currently down in 8th, so not scoring a big haul of points, but I believe that's an invalidation early on in the lap for TF10 Dirk. That's not going to be too good for his chances of getting a good qualifying position, as Pablo Crack goes 5th for ILD. Not a bad start to his qualifying session at all, as he gets his first lap time on the board. And well, there's a few drivers who would dearly love to get a good lap time on the board in the opening stages, but hasn't really translated to much for many. However, keeping an eye on where people are around the track at the moment, I believe IRT Phil is the leading driver on a hot lap at the moment. He's improving by a 10.5. He's on a 120.958. Where can he see himself through in this qualifying session? Well, at the moment, it's only 15th, but it could be a lot more come the end of it if he's able to deliver a good result on this lap as he goes through the Sector 2 timing line now. It's a 3/10 improvement. That could see him up as high as about 5th place at the moment. 5th or 6th, so that could be a real good lap time on the way for IRT Phil, who currently resides down right at the bottom end of the field. He's got a good lap time on the board as things stand, and as he rounds the final bend of this lap, he will now come across the line to set his first valid lap time of the session. Where will it put him? It puts him exactly 5th. So a good start for him as he gets a really good and representative lap onto the board now. And now it's down to others to see what they can deliver as many drivers come into the pit lane. Not many of them setting a lap time here.
Yeah, Rens Thomason also beginning his lap, I believe, going through this turn 3, 4, I believe that is. I cannot tell you the corners off the top of my head. Now going into the harshest braking zone, he is slightly down, but there's still loads of this lap left to go, so he can definitely make up that deficit. Now going into this difficult right hand here, low speed, medium speed, he takes it very high speed for Rens Thomason, goes flat out through that right hander. Now slight brake going into the left hander, goes through into this small mini straight and into the sector 2 split. Where's it going to put him? It's going to put him as a purple. Sector 2 now going through these flat out right-handers in 7th gear. Now he has to lift slightly through here to make sure to set up that last corner perfectly. Goes through the DRS detection zone. Of course, it's not needed in qualifying, but that is good to note for the race. And takes a brilliant last corner, but he dives back into the pit lane on his flying lap.
Yeah, not many drivers on a hot lap at the moment. Trying to keep an eye on that timing sheet. Looks like Nico might be on a decent lap. Could be an improvement for him, but not an improvement by much if he does set this lap time. But at the moment, rounding those final couple of corners doesn't set the lap time. So, with 3 minutes to go, roughly, in this qualifying session, everyone back into the pit lane as pretty much it is do or die here in qualifying, and it's time to try and get as good of a result as we can in this qualifying session. For all of these drivers, it is a real hot contest. It's going to be really difficult to get up that order as OVR Lucas, the first driver to come onto the track on an outlap for the final flying runs in this qualifying session. Their 15th and 16th at the moment is Optimum Velocity Racing. They're going to need a big boost if they want to get a good haul of points here tonight.
Yeah, of course. Very close between the entire grid. Only 8/10 separate first and 17th place. Drivers will now be setting up their final flying runs here, going on to fresh soft tyres, putting in minimum fuel as possible, which is 5 kilograms in this game. And we could see the drivers are now flocking out of the pit lane, excited to start their final flying lap. So it's still up to the drivers to see who can take provisional pole. Currently it is Rens Thomason for the ET8 team, followed by both TF10s in the first and second rows. So still all to play for in this qualifying session. I'm excited to see how this goes.
Absolutely. So we've got so much good action on the way here in the next couple of moments of this qualifying session. OVR Lucas about to begin his final flying lap in this qualifying session. What can he muster for Optimum Velocity Racing, a team that wants so much but seem to get so little in terms of results? But there is one final opportunity for them to boost themselves up the order, and with quite a bit of clean air in front of them. They've invalidated at turn 1. Right. Well, that was not in the script at all, if your name is OVR Lucas, but time to recharge the battery and time to back off and see if we can muster up anything better on a second lap time, but not the ideal start that he would have wanted, as now Rens Thomason is going to be the next driver to begin a flying hot lap. The man currently P1 is going to be the first to set a lap time, and will that work to his benefit or to his detriment, as now we barrel down towards turn number 1, braking just after the 50-meter board, sling it into turn 1 and run as wide on the exit as you can. Carry as much speed through these corners as now turn 2 and then turn 3, and well, flat out through there as to be expected, and towards turn number 4, brake again as late as possible. You're braking at about 30 meters there, and try and hold as much speed there through the double apex right-hander. Now through the left. So many hairpins around this tight, twisty and technical circuit. The walls might not be close, but the action is always not far away around here, as now trying to run it as nice as we can as we get towards the end of sector 2 here. yet another hairpin to round it out, and beautifully taken by Rens Thomason at the moment, who is on an absolute barnstormer of a lap here in to finish off this qualifying session. Is it an improvement though? It is an improvement in Sector 1, an improvement in Sector 2. This man could be about to absolutely decimate the bar, as now we round the final couple of bends and the checkered flag has fallen here in qualifying. Rens Thomason round the final couple of bends, slings it into the final turn of the lap, and well, as he runs up to the line after 16 laps, will it be a pole position for Rens Thomason? Well, it's a 120.180. What can anybody else do?
Yeah, Chris improves to 8th position. I'm not sure if that was an improvement or not, actually. Looking back, you've got an Alpine now going through. Rick Gambay retires from the session. Max van der Geest crosses the line and makes it a 20.358, which is a very slight improvement on his previous lap time. Next across the line is Eversio Kevins, who improves by 0.3 and moves up to 5th position. TTM Nick improves his standing to 5th place, when Pablo Crack for ILD does not improve on his lap and stays in 11th. Ghost King also crosses the line, and so does the rest of the GT10 team. So that is now rounding out your final few positions. We've still got a few more to go. Mixlinky moves up to 5th position, and there's one final Mercedes yet to cross the line, and that is IRT Marley, who has invalidated. Boy Lulu has invalidated as well. So that is your final grid order for qualifying for this race. It is Rens Thomason in pole position, Max van der Geest in 2nd, TF10 Dirk in 3rd, TTM Ghost King in 4th, Mixlinky 8 in 5th, TTM Nick in 6th, Kevin's in 7th, Gavroach in 8th, Phil in 9th, Chris in 10th, Lucas in 11th, Pablo Crack in 12th, Nico in 13th, Jamie in 14th. I think that was Rick Gambay in the next position, and I think after that was Boylulu from my memory. Yes, it was. Was it? Yes, it was. Then IRT Marley in 17th position, and the rest of the drivers who did not set a lap, that is Claudio, Duncan, and Karumi, all serving qualifying bans for this event. So very excited to see how this race pans out. I hope you're excited, Byron. What do you have to make of the qualifying session so far?
Wow, it's phenomenal to see Rens Thomason. When you think the bar couldn't be raised any higher, he somehow finds a way to absolutely decimate it. And quite stunning to see Rens Thomason on pole by nearly 0.2 of a second from Max van der Geest, who then just pips his teammate there, TF10 Dirk, Ghost King, followed by Mixlinky, Nick, Kevin's, Gavroch, Phil, Chris BL, OVR Lucas, Pablo Crack, OVR Nico, Jamie, Rick Gambay. We got a really feel for CPI today. 14th and 15th in qualifying. That is not the ideal start that they would have been after, and really a difficult qualifying session for the team that aren't looking too bad in terms of their championship position, but at the moment the results in qualifying really are not suggesting that they should be third in that championship.
Yeah, very good performance from all the teams, especially Aversio, who did have a really good qualifying session, finishing 8th, 5th, and 8th. They are, I think, last in the standing, so they'll definitely need this race if they want to get back and fight for some of the positions up ahead. But, of course, Rens Thomason did get pole position there with a 20.180, which was a very good lap for the ET8 man. And both TF10s also doing really well in the qualifying session, so quite excited to see how this race pans out. So, Byron, who do you think will win this race today?
I mean, there's any number of options as to who wins this one. It is always really interesting to see. And, well, we won't have all too long until we find out exactly that, right? It's going to be really interesting to see, but we've got a little bit of a restart, a little bit of a while until we'll know for definite, as we're waiting for the drivers just to do the lobby restart, the normal boring little bits that we got to do every time. But we are going to have a real good race on our hands, and I do think that one team that I think has got a really good shot tonight has got to be TF10. They really are showing some really solid pace there in qualifying, and certainly going to be trying to replicate that for the race.
Yeah, definitely. TF10 second and third on the grid. Very strong qualifying performance from both of the TF10 drivers of Dirk and Max van der Rijst. I think is how you pronounce that in Dutch. But yeah, we've got a brand new lobby now, so we're just waiting for everyone to join, and then we can set the grid and we can prepare for lights out in this race. Very excited to see how it goes. So interested to see what strategies will we play? Which strategy will play the best? Will there be any safety cars? On the PC side of things on Friday, we didn't see that many incidents apart from a few penalty removals. So hopefully we could see something similar to that today. Yeah, just very excited for this race. I hope you at home also watching. Very excited for this race. Got most of the drivers now joining, so lights out will be soon.
Absolutely, indeed. So much action to look forward to when this race does get underway in a couple of moments' time. We are just getting that lobby all sorted and ready for everything to happen. We have got, as I said, a real good race on our hands. No doubt about that one at all. Qatar is just moments away, but we had to kind of rush through it and breeze through it earlier on, but here's the calendar for the rest of the season. We're at round 8 of this 12 race season, and we have got 4 amazing rounds to come for the rest of this season. And well, next time out, yet another night race, and it is going to be the lovely Las Vegas Boulevard that we head to for round number 9. Then we have a mystery GP. So who knows where we're heading for round number 10, followed by Hungary and Japan to round out the season. All tracks that can provide a whole host of action, overtaking and drama. So a real good end to this season. Will we see ET8 crown the champion come the end of the season? Well, the standings certainly suggest it, but Dom, there's still going to be a lot to play for either way. Do you think ETA pretty much have this championship in the bag, or do you think there's a lot of time for things to change?
Well, I mean, we still have got a couple of races to go, so anything can happen, especially in the world of Formula One esports. Anything can happen. I mean, ETA have had a very dominant season so far, but I am still predicting ETA to win the championship, but anything can happen here. We could see TTM really come out of nowhere and take that championship, or CPI, or possibly some of the other teams as well in 4th and 5th. Who do you predict will win the team's championship?
I mean, you got to give it to the current championship leaders in the form of that lovely team that is ETA. Such a good team in terms of their racing pedigree. But, you know, you really could give it to anyone. You know, it really could be absolutely anyone who wins the championship, as we are pretty much nearly there in terms of our lobby getting sorted. We are just getting the final couple of drivers into the lobby, and then we'll be good to go. We're getting that grid order set and sorted for you at the moment. But in terms of your championship, ETA are leading the way, followed by TTM, CPI. It's then TF10, Team Exeter, who've had a double qualifying ban tonight. Then Grand Track 10, IRT, Iberia Racing Team, Optimum Velocity Racing, and then Avisio Racing. But there's still so much time for everything to change within this season. It really has been such a season of highs and lows so far for some teams, but I would love to get your thoughts and feelings in the not Twitch chat. It's been ages since we've been on Twitch. In the YouTube chat, I would love to hear your thoughts and feelings as we gear towards the race getting underway here for, well, round number 8 of this season. And it is going to be one great race to, well, to join into the history books for this season. And, well, not that far away.
Yeah, still got 4 rounds to go after this one, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Also, take a look at the driver standings while we wait as well. We've got Kay Gatkowski for CPI, who leads the championship on 107 points. He is not racing today. In his seat is Rick Gambay and ET8 Jamie in for CPI. Brian follows close behind them with 92 points. for the IRT team, and Kurumi as well in third place for Team Exosia, who is driving today, so he'll definitely be trying to get back into the Drivers' Championship as well. Rens Thomason, who also is driving, he's on 74 points, and seeing his form throughout the entire season, he looks to be on pole position to win every single race he has done so far, has resulted in a win for the ET8 driver, and in 5th place you have got Ghost King, who competed for both GT10 and TTM this season, who is at TTM for today and is taking that McLaren spot alongside Nick for today's race. So the lobby's getting sorted, though. I think someone is having connection issues on joining the lobby, so still might be a little bit of a wait before lights out. But Byron, what a qualifying session we have seen. Rens Thomason obviously getting pole position and TF10 getting second and third. Who do you think will come out of this race and really just be the dark horse here? Do you think Rens Thomason will win, or do you think it will be someone who finished further behind in qualifying who could win?
It's difficult to say because, TF10, they've got a strategic advantage in terms of this race. Rens Thomason, his teammates all the way down in 10th, but TF10, second and third, they've got a real advantage in terms of strategic options, versus that team down, with 1 and 10, it's all right, but with a second and third, you've got so many more options, we are pretty much ready to go. It does seem like we are going to maybe possibly lose a driver, although actually it does say 20 drivers in the lobbies, so it does seem like the problem that we were having has seemingly resolved itself. I'm not quite sure quite what's gone on in terms of that, but no need to worry, we are pretty much sorted. It seems like we are moments away from the race getting sorted, check the 5 red lights going very, very soon.
Yeah, now with the lobby restart, teams will have to put on their setups, put on their strategies. To any drivers watching, please remember your setups. Probably for these drivers at this very top level, probably already know that off by heart now with how many lobby restarts we have had in the game. But still a little while to go yet. We're just now loading into the session. That driver that had connection problems has sorted itself out, which is really good to see. We have the full grid of 20, which we had originally driving today. Of course, just to remind you on how qualifying went, we had Rens Thomason, who finished on pole position, followed by TF10 Max van der Geest and Dirk in second and third position. Ghost King for the TTM team finished in 4th position. McSlinky in 5th, Nick in 6th, Kevin's in 7th, Gavroche in 8th, IRT Phil in 9th, Chris in 10th, OVR Lucas in 11th, Pablo in 12th, Nico in 13th, Jamie in 14th, Rick Gambe in 15th, Boylulu 16th, Marley in 17th, and that is Claudio, Duncan, and Kurumi, who are serving a qualifying ban for this race today. We're now just loading into the lobby. Drivers will now be putting their setups and strategies now on.
Indeed. So let's give you a nice little intro to the Bahrain International Circuit as we are very much nearing lights out. Well, it is the Bahrain International Circuit hosting round 8 of Season 4, and what a qualifying session we have had. A lovely lap from Rens Thomason, and welcome to the Losail International Circuit. It is round 8, and as always, thank you to our presenting partners, Grid Finder and Sim Racing Centre. But it is the lovely circuit of Qatar. Amazing circuit, 16 corners, 3.343 miles, 10 corners to the right and 6 to the left here around this tight, twisty and difficult circuit. But this is going to be no challenge to these drivers. They've had 18 minutes of fun around here, and they're going to be having about another 45 in the next couple of moments' time. But in terms of this track, so many overtaking opportunities. Turn 1, though, following that DRS zone, absolutely the main overtaking opportunity for this grid. And there, well, certainly going to be plenty of action around this lap, because overtaking, other than that main straight, is a little on the difficult side. But let's take you trackside for this race, as now we have a look at the pit lane. We're only a few moments away from lights out here in Qatar, and well, alongside me, as was the case for qualifying, is the lovely Dom, and well, qualifying sprung some surprises. This race will surely spring some surprises too. How much are you looking forward to this one?
Oh, loads. It's going to be a very exciting race, of course. Qatar is known for long trains of cars as well, and high tyre degradation as well, so he will definitely be seeing loads of the hard tyre in this race, especially with, on this game, the hard tyres survive much longer than any other tyre, which might not be the most realistic, but this is a Formula 1 game after all. So yeah, I am anticipating medium-hard strategies, hard-medium strategies. I will assume no drivers will go onto the soft tyres, as I do not think they are the quickest tyre for today, but of course Rens Thomassen will be leading the way from pole position onto this race.
Well, here we go. 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's caught me off guard here in Qatar, and it's lights out, and away we go here for round number 8 of the championship. Rens Thomassen looks to have got a decent start versus those around him, as now Max van der Geest has to battle ever so slightly with his teammate there, as TF10 Dirk has to look a little bit behind as well. But opening lap of this race, quite a few moves up and down the order. There is EXT all the way down in 19th and 20th. They're going to be a team to keep an eye on to see their pace. They've not had any time to practice or enjoy this qualifying session, as Gavroche for GT10 has got his place up into 8th place in the race. As now, if you look there, Pablo Crack there gets himself up into 10th place. IRT Phil and Gavroche battle for 9th and 8th place respectively, as out in front Nick and Kevin's battle as well, side by side between the two, as Kevin's loses a couple places on the opening lap, but out in front by 6/10 of a second, Rens Thomassen is leading the way from Max van der Geest, then TF10 Dirk, then TTM Ghost King, followed by McSlinky, Nick, IRT Phil, and then Gavroche.
Yeah, a very good opening lap. We did see multiple moves in the first couple of corners, and as you said, EXT wants to watch here. Now they've moved up from P20 and P19 to P15 and P18, so very good for both of the drivers for Team Exostia. We can also take a look at the tyre strategy for today, and as I have called it, most drivers are on the hard compound tyre, with only Phil and Rick Gambe opting for the medium tyres, so they will be trying to push for the undercut here. The hard's looking like the way to go here. I would assume the pit window would be around, for the medium tyres, around lap 13, and for the hard around lap 17. So yeah, very excited to see how this race pans out. Still Rens Thomassen leading the way away from Max van der Geest and TF10 Dirk, as you have mentioned before. So no changes within the top 4 so far, but it is only lap 2 and there is still lots of this race to go. Byron, what do you think of that first 2 laps of this race?
Well, the opening couple laps of this race are always quite an important one. Interesting to see that Chris RBL has moved back to 12th place. Not ideal, and ET8 Jamie as well, struggling all the way down in 19th for CPI, so not a great start for CPI. Rick Gambe has managed to make up a few places, but his teammate has lost a few, as EXT make a move there versus OVR Lucas, as Duncan gets his place up into 16th and a step closer towards the points, but a fastest lap moving down the field, and IRT Phil is the man who currently holds that fastest lap of the race, as I'll load the tyres up before the chat start complaining, because I knew it was only a matter of time until they would start complaining. And, well, nonetheless, you can have your precious little tyre graphic. And, well, lap 3 of 29, and, well, not much change at the top, but further down the order, EXT making good moves, although Duncan has made a mistake and he's back down to 20th, so back to square one for him.
Yeah, as leading on to that, EXT Karumi moved up to 15th, but also some other drivers that have done well as well. Phil has made up a couple of positions as well. Kevin's has lost a few slightly, but Versio doing pretty well, and I think it's the what's it called? Result for the team so far, both in 5th and 9th position. They didn't have the best of races last week, although I was not in the commentary booth. I was still watching at home. But yeah, still Rens Thomason, who is still trying to increase as much as possible, get out of the DRS of Max van der Heist and Dirk as well. So I'm expecting a lot of teamwork for both TF10 drivers as they try and take down the Flying Dutchman here for the lead of the race. Ghost King as well, trying to pick up any positions as well. Might we see a move going into... No, we don't, but that gap is closing and is closing quick every single lap we go through. We've got 2 drivers already into the pit lane on lap 4, which is quite interesting. Lucas and Jamie, after I would have to assume that is damage for both drivers. Now they are boxing onto the medium compound of tyres. Jamie is at least, and so is Lucas as well. So them two now opting for the medium tyres, and I don't think that lasts them all the way to the end, especially as they started on the hard compound of tyre.
Well, a lovely move there a couple of moments ago from IRT Phil as he got his way ahead of McSlinky. And what an overtake from the man currently running the medium compound tyres. Got himself up to 5th place. Rick Gambe has struggled a little bit on those medium tyres in the opening couple of laps, but looks like he might be about to make himself a move on Kevin's there, who has been falling away. And wow, what a ballsy place to make the overtake there as he gets himself up into 9th place. Rick Gambe on a charge as well. So well, he'll certainly be looking to try and make a few moves further up the order as we get through the early stages of this lap. And well, as we now begin lap number 5, now IRT Phil will be setting his sights on TTM Ghost King and trying to get himself up into 4th place in this early stage. But so many time for those moves to happen as OVR Nico loses a couple places there. Clearly a mistake made for Optimum Velocity Racing, as now their other driver loses a couple of places as IRT Phil makes yet another move. Well, tries to make the move, but can't quite make it stick, and he has made the move after getting Ghost King a little bit all out of sorts. What a lovely move from IRT Phil in the same corner. He made a move last lap on McSlinky there in 6th place. The man currently in 4th, getting some good pace out of his medium compound tyres.
Yeah, the mediums, of course, will be the faster compound tyre, and I would expect to see a crossover to be happen within the next 10 or so laps, but Phil will now be chasing down the front 3 now, both TF10 drivers and one ETH. We've got Jamie into the pits once again for the hard compound tyres, so maybe he will be trying to push all the way to the end on those hards. It will be very difficult for him to keep those within the perfect tyre window for the rest of the race, especially with how much tyre degradation there is on this track. But still, it's Rens Thomason who is still leading the way for the rest of this race. For the past 6 laps he has been leading, and there has not been a change for that front 3 at all. Chris gets the fastest lap with a 24.402. Rick Gambe and Nick also fighting as well, as we can see 2 different trains begin to appear, one between 1st and 7th and another between the rest of the grid.
Indeed, Rick Gambe certainly going to be trying to close and prevent that gap from opening up anymore as those medium tyres begin to come into effect for Rick Gambe, and it's working quite nicely for him at the moment as he sets a personal best sector 1 here on lap 6 of 29. We got 24 laps to go in this race, and well, Rick Gambay's certainly going to be hoping that that next 24 laps is very fruitful for him on the opposite strategy. Definitely going to be yielding a bit of better pace earlier on, but short-term gain for long-term pain is going to be likely the scenario that Rick Gambay is going to be facing, as he'll have to battle in the later stages to hold position, but there's nothing saying that this strategy may not work for him, as now towards the end of lap 6 we now head on to lap 7. IRT Phil not much closer to the back of the car ahead of him, TF10 Dirk, as he sets a fast lap of the race and actually might be looking for a move on his teammate, who's looking for a move on the race leader, Rens Thomason. TF10 Dirk could get a 2-for-1 deal here into turn number 1. He's not quite able to make it work though, as they go nearly side by side there into turn number 2. And now TF10 Dirk, after trying to overtake his teammate, has lost back out to Rens Thomason, as now we head down towards turn number 4. And well, TF10 Dirk can't make the move. Rens Thomason couldn't get back ahead of Max van der Geest, who now leads the way here in Qatar. And well, there was talk in the YouTube chat, about the leaders getting a bit feisty and a bit frosty at the front. Well, it's began to happen as Max van der Geest overtakes Rens Thomason, but Dirk not quite able to make the move himself.
Yeah, very good move from the TF10 drivers. Unfortunately, Dirk did not get the move on Rens Thomason the same way that Max van der Geest did. RT Phil also trying to pick up the scraps from that little bit of overtake glory as well, and so is Ghost King just behind. But it's Max van der Geest, our first leader change of this race, as he takes the lead going into lap number 8 now, but that can still change going into this DRS zone. Rens Thomason will definitely be trying to get back that position, get back his first position. The gap is closing, and it is closing fast. Will he move to the inside? He moves to the inside. He has to brake later than the TF10 man. He does brake later. Going on to the outboard camera, he pushes him slightly off, but it's still side by side going into second corner. Will it be Max van der Geest, or will it be Rens Thomason? Rens Thomason looks to be slightly ahead, but Max van der Geest is not giving up on that. Dirk and Phil also trying to capitalise on that, but Rens Thomason will be one who will be taking that first place. Both TF10s also fighting as well. They both back out. I see a little bit of debris in the background as well from possibly Gavroche, I think that is, I'm not sure. But a couple of incidents through there, but very, very close. Is what we love to see here on the Competitive Speed Series channel.
Absolutely man-like there. As I've been corrected in the YouTube chat, I did have a brief little look and saw the correction for my horrible pronunciation. Man-like there was the driver getting a bit of front wing damage there on that right-hand side, which is really going to hurt you around this sort of track. So not ideal for the man running in 7th, looking to try and get some points for EVE, and unfortunately with that damage not going to help his conquest there. But as I said, the talk of the battle at the front getting frosty, it certainly has. Rens Thomason nearly broke DRS, but not quite close enough, as now TF10 Dirk will absolutely hunt down that gap down the straight.
Yeah, of course, the gap is still a bit too large to possibly make a move going into this first corner here of... No, I've still got 20 laps to go, so anything can happen in this race. Rens Thomason's still out in front. All the races he's done this season has ended up with a win. 58 man. Dirk will definitely be trying to chase down TF10's first win of the season, if I'm not mistaken. And so is Max van der Geest. IRT Phil also on the undercut strategy on those mediums. Those mediums are definitely going to start going off, and I think the hards will be slightly faster now, but we can see how close everybody is as well. Manlike is also trying to capitalise on some of that as well. He is 7/10 back, so he definitely needs to catch up a little bit. He has a missing end plate actually, so it was Manlike that got involved in a little bit of an incident through there, so hopefully that won't slow him down too much going into this next section. He needs as much downforce as he possibly can get, and with a broken front wing it won't be really too good looking for you. He does lose a little bit of time, but he still is within the DRS range of the front 6, so it won't be too much of a problem for him. Rick Gambay gets a 3-second penalty for going off on that second to last corner. So yeah, now it's Rens Thomason and TF10 Dirk trying to fight it out between the two of them. I still think Dirk is too far behind, but his IRT Phil is going to be trying to make a move. Unfortunately, not really too much success for him. All he was trying to defend from Ghost King. Ghost King can't make a move either. Kevin's and Rick Gambe also switching positions in the background.
Yeah, Ghost King really trying to get the position on IRT Phil, as those medium compound tyres do seem to be falling off a little bit more here, as now we're getting through the laps and the pace on the tyres beginning to drop off for the medium compound, and those hard tyres are beginning to come into their window just that little bit more. So now Ghost King is really beginning to mount and apply the pressure to the back of the IRT as things stand, but we are only on lap 10 of 29, and Gavroche actually got a bit close within that second sector to the back of Ghost King. So clearly a difference in terms of their downforce package really coming out to play there, as one's car is really fast on the straights, one is really fast through the corners, so clearly a little bit of a strategic and setup difference there, but as now we head onto the straight for lap 11 of 29, and Ghost King only 2 tenths behind the man in front, but is that 2 tenths quite small enough in terms of making the move down into turn number 1, as he'll pull to the right ever so slightly and try and dart down the inside. Is he able to hold it down the inside? He absolutely is, but what can the man who is now in 5th do to try and respond? Absolutely nothing, as he falls to 5th gracefully on those medium compound tyres, and will have to try and consolidate and make the overtake again if that window opens. But Ghost King comfortably up into 4th, and the man who used to be at GT10 has been absolutely shining for TTM.
Yeah, indeed. Still the TF10s in 2nd and 3rd, but now that gap is closing. Chris, for that's the 2nd ET8 driver, gets a 3-second penalty as well, which will not help him in his strategy. Still out in front, but that gap is closing every single corner. It's now only 5 tenths between us. Maybe Dirk will try and attempt to make a move, possibly later on in this lap, or possibly even next lap. Max van der Geest also trying to capitalise on that, but Manlike as well has lost the DRS to Gavroche Kevin's. His Manlike's teammate has gotten a 3-second penalty as Manlike gets overtaken by Nick, so that damage is really not helping him at all. But now Rens Thomassen, Dirk and Max van der Geest now going on to the start finish straight, and the only DRS straight of this track. Dirk has so much more pace than Rens Thomassen, moves to the inside and gets the move done. Very clean and consistent. Now it's Dirk in that first position, as we've got Rens Thomassen, who gets demoted to 2nd place. Max van der Geest is still in 3rd place.
Indeed, as Rick Gambe comes into the pit lane and off of those medium compound tyres, and will come out in 18th place, and that's going to be a really interesting one to keep an eye on to see what he can do in terms of gaining some positions on the alternate strategy. He's got the undercut, but is it going to be worth quite enough, as Rens Thomassen is just 2.5 tenths behind TF10 Dirk here as we go through sector number 2. And keeping really close through this 2nd sector is crucial to try and make a pass there in the 3rd, and once we head back onto that DRS straight. And he's doing a very good job at keeping nice and close behind at the moment. And as he certainly will be looking to try and make the overtake back down at the straight, as now we round the final couple of corners of this lap. They really do come at you thick and fast here around the Losail International Circuit, and once they are back around, it will be interesting to see what they are able to do in terms of making that move and overtake ahead of the car in front, as Rens Thomassen does pull alongside and comfortably ahead. IRT Phil into the pit lane as well. A 3-second time penalty for his teammate IRT Marley, who's all the way down in 17th place at the moment, but Rens Thomassen back out in front, but TF10 still with the strategic options due to Chris RBL all the way down in 12th at the moment. Not working at the moment for the man all the way down in 12th, but it is working for the man out in front.
Yeah, very good strategy. Rens Thomassen actually gets fastest sector 1 here, 13 laps into his stint. We also saw some of the medium runners go into the pits, that including Phil and Rick Gambe as well, the lap before. Rens Thomassen still leading this race here, but the pit window is now pretty much open, so I'm going to assume the hard runners will box within the next laps, within the next 10 or so laps, I'd have to assume. But Versio Kevins gets another 3-second penalty, which increases his tally to 6 seconds, which means it isn't really the greatest for his strategy, but still Rens Thomason out in front. He's built up a 7/10 gap, which might be enough to keep him safe for this next straight. Max van der Geest might be trying to overtake his teammate here going into first corner. I don't think any moves will have to happen here, but Rens Thomason gets the fastest lap here with a 24.2, which just shows off how much pace he has. Dirk right behind Rens Thomason, but he does not make the move here. Or those hard tyres are treating Rens Thomason really, really well here, so possibly he might be going for the overcut strategy to counter the TF10s.
Absolutely, really interesting to see the strategies that are on show at the moment as we get another 3-second time penalty on the board. It's really not been great for those towards the bottom of the grid at the moment. Both CPIs, Rick Gambe and Jamie, both have penalties to their name and not been a great race for them at the moment, but plenty of opportunity and time for that to change. Anything can happen in a moment's notice as we're just approaching half distance in this race. We're on lap 14 of 29. If you're just joining us live, then welcome in because we have got a real good race on our hand. We've got a lot to come in the next the next half of this race, and the battle at the top is going to begin to bubble and boil over as Ghost King back within a second there. So showing a good hand of pace there, the TTM currently in 4th, and with his teammate there in 6th, maybe running possibly a different strategy as well. A good haul of points could be coming TTM's way, and they need to score more points than ET8 to try and close that gap in the championship, as TF10 Dirk is lending a hand in the way of TTM's point advantage as he overtakes Rens Thomason and gets himself back up into P1, as now Max van der Geest might set his eyes on the ET8 in front of him, but lap number 15, we are over half distance in this race, and with another just under half of this race to go, there is a lot of questions still to be answered, and for Rens Thomason, whether he's going to win this race or not is quite a big question that still needs to be answered.
Yeah, Dirk is showing really good pace for this race, and so is Max van der Geest as well. Now he's pulled out a second on Ghost King, which means Ghost King will not be getting DRS unless Ghost King catches back up within the DRS range of the top 3, but Dirk looking to have really good pace, and so is Rens Thomason as well. So very interested to see how it goes here. TTM looking to get a pretty decent points haul as well, and Gavrich as well in 5th place, so very good for all those teams involved. ILD in 7th and 8th as well, so that would be pretty decent on the point side for them.
Indeed it will be. Well, just looking at where we are in terms of the penalty situation for the race at the moment, the man with the most penalties is Kevins, down in 17th place with 6 seconds as there's a change for the lead. Rens Thomason back up in front as there's a couple drivers into the pit lane. TTM Nick and Pablo Crack for ILD into the pit lane. So both of them changing their tyres, likely onto a set of those medium compound tyres. And that is exactly what goes on for both of them, as now we have a little look back at that penalty situation. 6 seconds the way of Kevin's there in 17th place. Then we have 6 seconds for Rick Gambe as well. And then we have 3 seconds for Chris RBL as well as IRT Marley. And then OVR Lucas and CPI Jamie. So plenty of penalties up and down the order, but those who have it is normally a 3-second time penalty for the time being, but so much time for more penalties to add and add a little bit of complication to this race. And that could really have ramifications for the top of the order at the moment, as Ghost King, the man in 5th, has actually 2 warnings to his name. So another warning, he will get himself a 3-second time penalty, which could have massive ramifications when they want to try and gain points versus ET8.
Yeah, Max van der Geest and Ghost King all darting into the pit off of those hard tyres. I'd assume they would be going on to the medium compound now to finish the race on those mediums. possibly going for fastest lap time as well. Extra 2 points in this championship, if I remember correctly. Marley gets another 3 seconds of penalties, so penalties are now starting to roll in as well. All of the drivers, Nick as well, gets another 3 seconds as well. For the front, not many penalties as of yet. So loads of drivers now going on to the medium tyres, that including Max van der Geest, Ghost, King, Claudio, Pablo Crack, Nick, Nico, and more further down along. But it's Dirk now who is in the lead of this race, followed by Rens Thomassen and GT10 Gavroche.
Indeed, a lot of time for all of that order to change at the moment, as we have got a really interesting order, and it will be interesting to see whether Dirk and Rens Thomassen maybe hold off and go for a set of soft compound tyres. How long do they last in a racing situation, and how much pace and benefit could they gain if they were to go for a set of those soft compound tyres, or is it worth just boxing for a set of mediums and playing it safe? Well, it depends as to what TF10's gamble looks like, as both of them come into the pit lane for the medium compound tyres, as does Gavroche there. And Gavroche, 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's not ideal. Karumi follows suit as well into the pit lane for him, as Chris RBL currently the man out in front. He's been on these tyres since the start of the race, and well, he certainly has got a little bit of a way to go in this race, and well, he's still got a pit yet, and that's likely going to be on to a set of soft compound tyres, you would have thought. But as everyone comes out the pit lane, Max van der Geest leads the way from IRT Phil, then TF10 Dirk, Ghost King, and Rens Thomassen, who was leading, is down in 6th place at the moment. That is not an ideal position for him to be in, but Gavroche, 10-second time penalty in 7th. That's going to massively hurt his point haul from this race.
Yeah, for Rens Thomassen as well, coming out in 6th position after the round of pit stops is not really the best for him, especially as he's trying to fight down for the win of this race. But as it stands, provisionally, Max van der Geest is in 2nd position, and RT Phil in 2nd before Chris boxes, when I'd assume that Chris will box at the end of this lap. He has pulled out an 8-second gap due to everybody else boxing, but he has lost lots of time throughout this lap and has lost a whole 10th as I say that. So, still Max van der Geest in provisional P1. TF10 Dirk makes it provisionally P2, so makes it a provisional TF10 1st and 2nd place. Chris stays out an extra lap, and Gavroche and Nico both get 3 seconds penalties apiece, which does not help Gavroche's strategy, as he is probably on, I think, 13 seconds of penalties right now, and Ghost King also gets fastest lap through there as well.
Indeed, Gavroche, 13 seconds of penalties at the moment. Ghost King with the fastest lap. And looking at the gap time between the man in 1st and 2nd at the moment, 7.5 seconds is that gap in the battle for P1. The man who's been on the hard since the start. But the time through this 2nd sector, you really will see it tumble. It's 7.1 at the moment. But watch as that gap falls, as now at 6.9. And then it's just going to only get smaller and smaller as we go through the Sector 2, because it's so tight, twisty and technical. The mechanical grip needed within the car is really meaning that this man, Max van der Geest, is being propelled like a rocket ship up towards the back of the man who leads the way on track at the moment. But once the man who currently leads the way, Chris RBL, comes into the pit lane, he will lose a whole heap of positions. But after just Sector 2 alone, 6 or 7 tenths gained there from Max van der Geest. That is a huge margin in one sector alone, and that is exactly why Max van der Geest is gaining like a rocket ship as Chris RBO does come into the pit lane.
Yeah, and finally as well, he will have 9 laps on those, I would assume, fresh mediums. Yes, fresh mediums. That was Dirk and Rens Thomassen, who also fought back valiantly to get back into 3rd position, now behind both TF10. So a bit of TF10 teamwork will be necessary here if they want to keep that 1-2 position as it stands. Rens Thomassen will of course be trying to overtake them as quick as possible. He is touching Dirk's backside, but he will be trying to make the move going into next lap, of course, through this second sector. It is very, very tight, so it's very difficult to make a move. Ghost King also trying to pick up some of the scrap from the fight between Dirk and Renz, but it is the front four, one of the only front fours to not get any penalties as of yet. Still 9 laps left to go in this. Max van der Geest leads the way, followed by TF10 Dirk and Renz Thomassen, who will be trying to fight down the flying TF10s.
Indeed. Well, we've got 10 laps to go in this race at the moment as Renz Thomassen really close to the back of TF10 Dirk. Do not go anywhere if you are just joining us here on YouTube. It is really going to be an exciting end to this race here in Qatar. We have got such a good end to this one oncoming as now TF10 Dirk has to look behind to the man in third. Renz Thomassen trying to make the move into turn number 1, and ET8 really having to try and fight and wring the neck out of the car to get the position here as Max van der Geest back up into first. But can Renz Thomassen sail round the outside and hold it versus Max van der Geest? He absolutely can. The man for ET8, who started on pole, is back in P1 after making a move on not one TF10 but 2. They have been absolutely made to look for fools, as last time they defended superbly. This time it's a bit of a clown show, and now Renz Thomassen back up in P1, and now Max van der Geest has got to answer and respond as now they make their way through Sector 2 once more.
Yeah, very good move for Renz Thomassen within the first sector. Double overtake for the ET8 driver on both TF10s, as you have mentioned. The pole sitter set a 20.180, which was very quick and probably a lap I would dream of doing, but very, very, very good for the ET8 team as it stands first, and the second driver at 16th, unfortunately. But for TF10, maximum points for them. Renz Thomassen also gets fastest lap with that as well with a 23.0, but Max and Dirk will definitely be trying to make the move. It's 3 wide going into the first corner, and it is a double overtake for both TF10s on Renz Thomassen, but it's still 3 wide going into turn 2, and that is your order after the first corner. It's still Dirk and Renz Thomassen trying to fight it out as well. Now it's Dirk and Max van der Geest who are trying to fight it out as well, but Max does stay out in front, followed by Dirk and Renz Thomassen as well. So TF10 back into first and second place once more.
Indeed, indeed, and well, it is looking really spicy at the moment on the circuit, and the gap between Renz Thomassen, Dirk and Max van der Geest, you might as well be putting pieces of paper between them because they are so closely matched at the moment. But Ghost King in fourth has really got himself into the fold on this one. And, well, one of his warnings must be contact because he's picked himself up a third warning, not got a penalty. So one more track limit violation, and it is a 3-second time penalty the way of the man in fourth as Gavroche looks to actually try and make the move on the man in fourth with 13 seconds of penalties for Gavroche. Unfortunately, there could have been a real good haul for GT10. Won't come to anything as now Renz Thomassen looks to try and make the move on TF10 Dirk.
Yeah, Renz Thomassen opting for the outside line here as Dirk is defending valiantly to make sure it is a TF10 1-2, slightly pushing them off the track, but very close racing. Makes it 3 wide Renz Thomassen on Max van der Geest, and Renz Thomassen makes another double overtake for the second time in this race, but it's still side by side going into the next corner. Will it be Max van der Geest or will it be Renz Thomassen? It looks to be Max van der Geest who takes the provisional P1 as it stands. But Renz Thomassen in second place does get the move done on Dirk. But how long will it stay like that? Will it be Renz Thomassen who will try and make the move for P1, or will it be Dirk who will try to make the move on Renz to make it a TF10 1-2? We still have 6 laps to go of this race, so it's still to play for.
Indeed, all to play for, indeed. And for ET8, Renz Thomassen in second. A good result could be on the cards there. But on the other side of the garage, a real nightmare for Chris RBL, who has not had the best race at all in this race. And, really difficult to see what's going on in this race. And well, for TF10 Dirk, he's going to be trying to make the move on Renz Thomason, but the Ren in second is going to be thinking about the move in front, not having to think about defending behind, as DRS wide open for everyone on the grid. As now, oh, look at the way that TF10 Dirk is swallowed up into turn number 1, and Max von der Geest the same, as now side by side, as we get a lovely helicopter cam shot here as we head through the heart of Sector 1 here, in this long straight, providing an opportunity for TF10 Dirk to get into the slipstream of his teammate and try and make the move, but not able to on this lap. And well, it is as it was. Max von der Geest in front, followed by Renz Thomason, then TF10 Dirk, then Ghost King Gavrich, Phil, Nick, Pablo Crack, then Karumi and Claudio for ILD there. OVR Nico in 11th, Chris RBL 12th, Kevin's in 13th, Duncan for Exeter Racing there in 14th, and then Manlike in 15th, rounding off those points positions at the moment. But so much time for this order to change up and down the grid, so much opportunity for things to move around, and well, Renz Thomason is certainly trying to maximise the points haul, going the way of his team ET8, who are looking to take yet another win in competitive speed series. And what a win it could be. The team that joined midway through last season have certainly found happiness in this season. And wow, Renz Thomason back up into the lead. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. What's that for? Looks like it's for OVR Lucas. Who's made a bit of an error there in Sector 2. But Renz Thomason back up in P1. Max von der Geest and Dirk having to respond as Ghost King and Gavrich have to battle side by side, as Ghost King has now got himself a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, very, very great battles between the entirety of the top 3. Renz Thomason now leading the way from both TF10s. Renz Thomason actually gets purple Sector 1 on his 7-lap-old mediums, and he has got fresher mediums than Max van der Geest. So, very, very good race for Renz right now, as he is increasing that gap by quite a lot. Max will definitely try to be decreasing that gap as much as possible, but his grip on the DRS range is slipping away, now going into the far series of right-hands. It's another purple sector for Renz Thomason, 6/10 up according to the game, but Max van der Geest is losing that advantage that he had at the previous lap. Now, Renz Thomason will be rounding out the final corner. Will it be fastest lap for the ET8 man? Or will it be not for... will someone else keep it his fastest lap? And it's a 22.553. Max van der Geest did get DRS on that lap and is closing that gap once again, going into the first corner. We've still got 3 laps to go, so don't go anywhere, as we've still got loads of racing action here. And as you can see, Renz Thomason and both TF10s are fighting, and they are fighting for the win here. So make sure to stay tuned for the rest of this race.
Evie Kevins there has made a mistake and unfortunately has lost himself a fair few places, and not ideal for him, as you see the gap here between Max von der Geest and Renz Thomason. It is getting ever so larger as they head through the second sector, and it does seem like Renz Thomason is driving with a little bit more anger and pace, and maybe TF10 haven't quite noticed and responded properly, because at the moment Renz Thomason is gaining, but you can see there the bottom, the battle for P1 graphic, giving you a real great insight into how that gap is changing and how Renz Thomason, where he's gaining and where he is losing time versus Max von der Geest, who resides in second place at the moment. But it does seem like we are beginning to get the afterburners on, and the battle is set to resume once more as we head round the final bend and now begin lap 27. And Max von der Geest, let's see how much time he gains down the straight as DRS opens nice and wide. His teammate pulls alongside as well, so a change of position here as Dirk nicely closes up and makes that gap less than 3/10 of a second, and the DRS advantage and benefit is so large around this circuit.
Yeah, especially with that singular DRS zone, and it's the only DRS zone on this track, so the best opportunity to try and make a move is into turn 1. Any other overtaking opportunity, very difficult to do. Ren's a little bit the exit of that corner, locking up into this one, but that gap is very, very small, and yeah, the TF10s are also trying to close that gap as much as possible. Dirk is only 3/10 behind Renz Thomason, and Max is only 3/10 behind Dirk. So very close, as we've got still 3 racing laps to go, well 2.5 now, if you count this lap. So still loads of racing action to go. Going through these fast right hands, you have to make sure to be put all the way down to the metal here to keep as much minimum speed as possible and use as much of the track as possible to not lose too much time. But now going into the final bend here, the DRS detection zone, we have just passed, which means Dirk and Max van der Geest will be getting the DRS for this lap. But will it be good tactics to stay behind, or will it be them going for the move? Dirk, will he stay behind or will he make the move? He goes to the inside. Dirk goes down the inside, going into the first corner. Max van der Geest also trying to look down the inside, but it's Dirk who takes the lead of the race. Max van der Geest also trying to pick up the scraps from that move, but sadly he does not. So it's Dirk who stays in first position, followed by Renz Thomason, but they're still side by side here. Ghost King also trying to pick up some of the scraps, going into second place here provisionally for a little bit. He's still on the inside of Renz Thomason. Max van der Geest moves down slightly, but Renz does stay ahead in second position, which does help Dirk here a lot, as that gap has slightly increased, which means possibly he might stay ahead for the next lap. But Ghost King, he has got a 3-second penalty, but he's still fighting like there's no tomorrow. He's still trying to get into that P1 on track, but it's still Dirk and Renz Thomason in your first 2 positions, and provisionally it would be Max van der Geest who gets third position, but it's Ghost King who is there for now.
So here's your situation on penalties on the left-hand side of your screen. And well, Renz Thomason is certainly got a tall order to try and get to the end of this race in the place that he would love to be. He'd love to be P1. He's got a lot to do to be P1 come the end of this one, but he has to do a little bit less thinking behind, as now he makes the move on TF10. Dirk sails by the man who was leading the way and made the overtake there into turn 1, as Max van der Geest gets his way up onto the podium as well, as he overtakes TTM Ghost King. Oh, and there's a bit of contact there, and that could have gone sideways. It has gone sideways for Gavroche there, who's lost places and lost a lot of time here. Max van der Geest has lost some time and places too, as Ghost King now battles with IRT Phil and has to try and get some battling done between these two. And I believe I've seen a bit of carbon fibre going flying, and it's Ghost King who's lost an end plate here, and it has all gone a little bit pear-shaped right at the end of this race. TTM Ghost King with damage, and well, a bit of an incident there causing Gavroche to lose a lot of time. He had penalties already, but that has certainly hurt his chances in this race as well, as Max van der Geest down the inside of Ghost King, comfortably ahead of Ghost King, and now Max van der Geest wanting to get his way back up onto that podium.
Yeah, now looking towards the front now. Renz Thomason versus Dirk. We've got only 2 corners left to go and 1 braking zone. Can Dirk try and make a send onto Renz Thomason? No, he can't. So it looks to be Renz Thomason who will win this race. He goes across the line. What a brilliant race for the Flying Dutchman. This is Renz Thomason for the ET8 team who takes the win here, followed by both TF10s after a very, very exciting race with great battles throughout. Renz Thomason is your winner of the CSS.
Yes, indeed. What a race. What have we got there to finish off this race? I mean, Renz Thomason wins here in Qatar, followed by TF10 Dirk, then Max van der Geest, IRT Phil, Ghost King, Nick there in 6th, Pavlokrak, Karumi, Claudio, Oviar, Nico, Duncan, Chris RBL, then Boya Lulu and Gavroche there in 13th and 14th, so still getting points. Then Manlike in 15th, Rick Gambe, the lead of driver for CPI, but what a terrible race they have had as a team. They sit 3rd in the championship, but will they sit 3rd coming out of it? That is going to be a big question for them, as they have had a horrid time here in Qatar. But your race winner, Renz Thomason here. What a race and what a statement.
Yeah, very, very great race from Renz Thomason, qualified on pole, by I think it was around a tenth or two. I can't remember off the top of my head, but a very very good race from him. Also, the both TF10s finishing in second and third place. So very very good race for all of those top three as well. Phil managing to get fourth place as well. It's an all Dutch podium as well. Phil for the IRT team also managed to get into fourth place after the incident that Gavroche had earlier on in that final lap. So, Byron, what do you think is that race, and who is your driver of the day?
I mean, I've got not a clue who to put as my driver of the day there. I mean, I would give it to Karumi. He's in 8th, started 20th, not bad going, had a penalty as well, so really good race for him and for EXT. Had a double quali ban, and they got some really good points out of this one. I'd say that's my driver of the day, but Rens Thomason started first, finished first, but really had to fight a lot for that win, as TF10 really put up quite a good fight in this race, with Dirk there in second, Max von der Geest in third, then IRT Phil Ghost King, who had some damage on the final lap of the race, could have really suffered a little bit more, only fifth for him. Nick in 6th, then ILD with Pamela Crack, then Karumi for EXT, then ILD with Claudio, Nico, Duncan, Chris RBL, Boyalulu, Gavrich, Manlike, and then Rick Gambe just outside of the points, unfortunately, but a distant 16th for him. But 29 laps of action, plenty of it, and, well, you don't get any more drama than that. Wow, what a race we've had here. Really quite dramatic. And, well, all of the drivers in the top 3 have declined an interview. Clearly, a bit of tension has boiled over within that top 3. And, well, they are not happy at all, especially with that final lap.
Yeah, very close between that final lap. Rens Thomason did end up getting the win, followed by both TF10s of Dirk and Max van der Geest. So, very, very good race for Rens, but there was very, very good and close battles between the entirety of the top 3. IRT Phil also surprisingly getting 4th position, and then both TTMs in 5th and 6th. So I think that is very good for TF10 to get back into this championship. If we take a look at the standings, if I can get it up in time, TF10 are currently in 4th, and with 2nd and 3rds, those points being 30 and 26, that can really close the gap between them and the front 2, which I believe after this race will put them up to 2nd, if my maths is correct, or if yeah, but ETA getting maximum points here, 37 with fastest lap as well. So Byron, what do you think of that race, and who is your team of the day, actually?
Team of the day, undoubtedly TF10. What a race they've had. It's going to move them up, as you said, quite a bit in the order. Could take them up to 2nd. They've really solid result, double podium. Doesn't get much better than that for them. Disappointing not to be able to hear from either of them, actually, because they really were really solid in this race weekend. So great to see them. But I'd also like to give a shout out to Avizio Racing, actually, because well, they had an academy driver in, and well, a decent result out. Maybe not as good as they may have wanted, but you know, in terms of Manlike got himself a good point, so good to see, and well, definitely nothing to scoff at there. So good to see that, you know, the next kind of couple of drivers coming in quite nicely, and good to see how good this grid is looking. So much talent, so many good drivers, and what a good race and good result we've had coming out of this one. Bit controversy, but when isn't there in motorsport?
Yeah, loads of controversy in this particular race. Front 3 also being involved in a couple of incidents in that last lap when Gavroche got spun around and that re-promoted Phil up to 4th place, but yeah, very good race. Very good with the battles towards the end, and also the strategies were played off really well towards the end of the race as well. Loads of drivers opting for the hard to medium strategy boxing around lap 17, 18. But yeah, very, very good race, very fun race to commentate on. I hope you enjoyed it, Byron, and I hope everyone at home.
Indeed, I'm sure absolutely everybody at home did enjoy it. Well, that concludes round 8 of Qatar. We've got 3 rounds to go in this season. Las Vegas, a mystery GP, then Hungary, Japan to round out our season, which ends on November 3rd for us on PS. But getting underway tomorrow is Xbox, I believe, who tackle Qatar, and then on the 11th will be Las Vegas with PC. But until the 13th, when we return for Las Vegas and, well, take to the Boulevard for the first time, I believe, in competitive Speed Series. But until then, when competitive Speed Series returns, bye-bye.